So hey guys, hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sanya, and today's topic of discussion is going to be about understanding how can we heal our ancestors and our lineage. I'm sure that you have heard of this quote before where they say that it runs in the family, but today we will understand and we will decide together and say it out loud that this is where it runs out. I've done this video before where I have spoken about understanding the karmic relationships, and I suggest that you watch that video before you watch this one, and I'm going to put the link for you in the description box so you can check it out and you get a better sense of what I'm going to be discussing in this video. So let's understand in the first place who are our ancestors. Our ancestors are those who have come before us through our bloodlines. So it can be your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and so on. So it's going to be fair to say that you and me are going to be one of the ancestors. Our ancestors knew and they understood that healing always happens in cycles and circles. One generation goes through pain so the other generation can live, heal, and thrive. Our ancestors lived through us. We are the continuation of our ancestors. We are a byproduct of the choices that they made in the past. There are certain beliefs, certain lifestyle, certain behavior, certain experiences that have been passed on to us from generation to generation. And when there is a repeated cycle or pattern of a certain experience in your family, and that's when you want to get to the source of it, and you want to really understand what's going on, because there is a very apparent pattern that you see in your family, and that is what is called as intergenerational patterns. Intergenerational patterns are nothing else but patterns and repeated cycles of pain, trauma, financial issues, deaths, emotional issues, behavioral issues that have been passed on to us from generation to generation. You will see that in each family there will be someone who will root for the ancestors, who would want to dig through the history and figure out the source. Such individuals have a sole purpose, and the purpose is to break these intergenerational cycles and patterns. If you look closely in the palms of your hands, you would see your ancestors living through you. They live in you, through your blood, your bones, your DNA, your face, your eyes. They are very much present in our experiences if you observe and look closely. When you know your source, when you know your roots, you know your pain, you know the traumas that you carry and that your generations have carried, but you also figure out your strengths and your gifts. When you understand that healing your lineage means healing yourself. When you heal yourself, you not only heal the past, but you also heal the future generations through you. And when you heal yourself of these intergenerational patterns that I just spoke about, you free yourself from these experiences. You thus will reclaim the positive spirit of the family, the true essence of your family. But let me tell you, healing this or doing this work is not an easy thing. There'll be a lot of criticism that will come your way from your family. There will be, you might just end up being a black sheep of the family. You will create waves of change. People will resist. You will be called chaotic. You will be called a troublemaker. You will be called the black sheep of the family. In fact, I'm very soon going to make a video on this topic. I think this is something that needs to be told. There will be times when you would be called to do ancestral healing. Ancestral healing, in simple words, is just that you get passed through all of the pain, trauma, negative emotions, and experiences that you have faced and the lineages have faced before you, and you decide then that this is where it ends. This is where the cycle breaks. and it's no longer serving you, it's not going to be passed on to your future generations. You take that lead. Okay, now I remember growing up, I always had that streak of a warrior spirit. You know, that courage, that warrior in me was always present, but over time it got suppressed. That was my gift. You know, when you do ancestral healing, you not only just, you know, figure out the pain and the trauma in the family, but also the gifts and strengths. But to live to its fullest potential, you need to filter these things out that are no longer serving you. These beliefs, so there were certain beliefs that constantly, you know, made me question my warrior spirit. I had to really dive deep and figure out what is it that is stopping me. And also, I have observed in my life that there has been a lot of patriarchal influence, you know, in my life while growing up. I observed a lot of suppression in the family, especially in the women. The constant, you know, not being able to express your emotions, that silence, and the trauma that they were just going through. And I realized that it had started to show up in my experiences and in my relationships. That patriarchy had become one of the raging factors in my life, where I would always see myself, you know, roaring that why, and why, what's happening, and why is this happening, and why is this so. I remember as a child when I saw that the women in my family had issues of abandonment, they had issues of being neglected, so much trauma and pain in their experiences. I would always rage. I would always be angry about it. And suddenly, there was this pattern that followed in my own personal relationships. And it was extremely, I was startled in the beginning how this pattern has started to show up in my own personal relationship. So that's when I realized that this is exactly what, you know, I would be wanting to do. This was my mission, and the mission is to heal my lineage through me. And all of my women, all of the women in my family needed me, and I need them to change this dynamics, to be in my warrior spirit. And as a kid, I felt so much powerless whenever I experienced, you know, these things, and I witnessed the abuse, and now I crave freedom, and I made sure that I'm free, that I give myself that freedom to choose what I want, what I need, what I don't want, what I don't need. And that's the kind of life that I gifted myself. I built it so that warriorness in me can bloom and flourish and nurture and be nourished. So I think it's time to ask yourself that what is it in your family that needs to be healed, that needs to be, that you have inherited, that needs to be, you know, kind of buried and not being carried forward, so you can be in your true authentic essence. And now let's talk about how should we begin our journey. How do we do it? So the number one step is become aware and observe. Observe such patterns. What do you think needs to be healed? What is it that's affecting you, that runs in the family? Number two is have your own little community. Have your own, that soul tribe who believe in you, who love you, even when they don't believe in things that you say and you do. It's amazing. It's so uplifting when you have such people around you. Trust me on this. And third point is to make a strong intent, to have a strong intent that, you know, I am the one who's going to take the lead. I'm going to do this. I'm going to break the cycles. And you know, if you don't do this now, if you don't do this work now, you will have a loop of such experiences and repeated cycles in your life. If you don't address this now, maybe in other lifetimes that you will have to go through it. And oftentimes we feel, why did we choose this family? It's so this, it's so that, and this environment sucks and all of that. But the truth is, we all did. We all chose our families the way they are for our own journey and for our own lessons that we need to learn from them. Another key takeaway for me is that forgiveness. Forgive your family, forgive your people, forgive your lineage, your ancestors for not knowing what they, for the choices that they had made in the past. They did not know anything better than what they could do at that point. And forgive yourself for not knowing enough too. Forgiveness is the biggest eradicator of karma. So forgive and start fresh every time. I'm going to read out one poem that I came across that I hold very close to my heart. I'm going to read that out for you, okay? It says that your calling is going to crush you. If you are called to mend the broken-hearted, you are going to wrestle with broken-heartedness. If you are called to prophecy, you are going to struggle to control your mouth. If you are called to lay hands, you will battle with spiritual viruses. If you are called to teach and preach, you will be sifted for the wisdom that anoints your message. If you are called to empower, your self-esteem will be attacked. Your success will be hard fought. I think this is so well said. Your calling will come with the cups, thorns and sifting that are necessary for your mantle to be authentic, humble and powerful. Your crushing won't be easy because your assignment is not easy. Your oil is not cheap. So that's it guys for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and do let me know in the comment section what you thought about it, and if you have any questions, do let me know. I'll be happy to write you back. Thank you and see you soon. Bye.